Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. With only weeks to go now until the 2007 election, we at the network thought we would invite the two leaders in and ask them some questions that just might be important to your futures and that of your children. Evening, Mr. Howard. Evening. Evening, Mr. Rudd. Evening. I'd like to start tonight by reading part of a report that came out as far back as 1992. It was signed by more than 1,600 scientists from over 70 different countries and included 102 Nobel laureates. The report was titled World Scientists Warning to Humanity, and this is what some of it said. Human beings and the natural world are on a collision course. Human activities inflict harsh and often irreversible damage on the environment and on critical resources. If not checked, many of our current practices put at serious risk the future that we wish for human society and the plant and animal kingdoms, and may so alter the living world that it will be unable to sustain life in the manner that we know. Fundamental changes are urgent if we are to avoid the collision our present course will bring about. Mr. Howard, any comments? Oh, seriously, I fail to see what relevance that has to the situation we find ourselves in. As Prime Minister of this country, I focus on the important things, like the economy. Mr. Rudd. As Prime Minister of this country, my focus will also be on the economy. Funny you should mention the economy, gentlemen, because in 2001 a report was authored within the World Bank, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seems to support and add weight to the scientist report of 1992. The report states, an alarming rate of environmental degradation has occurred and in some cases is accelerating across the developing world. Environmental problems are imposing severe human, economic and social costs and threatening the foundation upon which growth and ultimately survival depend. Yes, growth. That's our election slogan. You must have seen it by now. Go for growth. Mr. Rudd. Anything he can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than him. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Enough, enough, enough. You don't seem to be getting the picture here. Let me put this in the simplest terms possible. You have a jar full of jelly beans, and you steadily remove and eat the jelly beans. Now, sooner or later, you're going to run out of jelly beans. Ronald Reagan never seemed to run out of jelly beans. Personally, I'm more of a Smarties man. It's obvious. Neither one of you wants to talk about the elephant in the room. So what I would like to ask you about is the inextricable topic of global warming. We know you both have put forward some measures with regards to renewable energy, but it's going to take a lot more than that if we're going to seriously tackle the issue. Mr. Rudd. Well, it's long been said that you can't polish a turd, but frankly, we plan to do just that. Our friends in the fossil fuel industry assure us that clean coal is the answer. Mr. Rudd has obviously been reading my energy white paper. So you agree with Mr. Rudd then? People from the fossil fuel industry have it all worked out. No, Mr. Rudd agrees with me. And yes, I'm all ears when people from the fossil fuel industry want to share their knowledge and expertise. It seems obvious that both of you have a lot of respect for people in that industry. And as we are now seriously running out of time, I'd like to read you both something and get your comments. This is from an article written by Ian Dunlop, formerly an international oil, gas and coal industry executive and currently Deputy Convener of the Australian Association for the Study of Peak Oil. Ian says as follows: "We now face nothing less than a global emergency. We must rapidly reduce carbon emissions and encourage alternative energy sources far faster than either government or opposition are prepared to acknowledge, and begin preparations for a global oil shortage. This is not an extreme view. The extremists are those in government and business who have been in denial for the past decade and in the process have frittered away our ability to plan a timely response." Mr. Howard? Mr. Howard? Mr. Rudd? Mr. Rudd?